Fujitora made Doflamingo look like a clown this week. Oh my god, that scene was so awesome and nothing even happened! And it was such a tease! This week's episode's title was Fujitora versus Doflamingo. But really, this is just the setup for their inevitable battle. We also get to learn that Fujitora is totally for the abolition of the 7 warlords. He wants their entire organization gone. He is a hardcore Navyman, and not only that, but he does not take any of Doflamingo's bullshit whatsoever. That scene where he is slowly walking towards him and letting him know that he's basically going to kill him eventually was so tense. And you knew immediately, once Doflamingo finally started to smile, that it was only a matter of time before he started to do something crazy and rash, and he starts to kick him in mid-sentence, but Fujitora just blocks it with his sword, and oh my god, just the spine tingliness of that moment, I can't describe it. It was definitely my favorite scene from this week's episode. But there were also some other really cool scenes. We got to see the reunion between Wicca and Violet was also helping Luffy, Zoro, and Kinemon finally get into the palace. It's also funny to note that Kinemon actually thinks that Violet is a ninja, just his weird warrior's way of thinking. We cannot forget the scene with Franky, though. Not only is he fighting against everybody in the toy house, but the Marines show up and they start firing at everybody. And Franky this week is hilarious, as is Senor Pink. Their battle just continues to be as bizarre as ever, especially with Franky using his Franky rocket, which takes forever to go, and it's actually just cluster missiles from his shoulder. It's a really funny scene, just the way he casually, like, spins around while blasting everybody. It's just a really great scene. And what's even weirder is that Senor Pink actually takes one of these rockets directly to the face, and he's fine. He's covered in blood. He pours brandy all over himself because that's pretty freaking gangsta if you're a 19th century businessman. Not to be outdone by Senor Pink's weirdness, Vice just decides to fly in the room, and I don't know if this is intentional or not with his design, but he's like this weird, bizarro, grotesque version of Mario. He has the same hat, he has the same build, except on a much grander scale, and when he flies into the room, he has a tanuki tail, or something similar to it, and the sound effects it makes sound just like the ones from Super Mario Bros. 3. Maybe it's just me, but I just thought that scene was hilarious. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of One Piece? I liked it. It wasn't perfect, and it was a little slow in the beginning of the episode. Going in, I thought it was going to end up being kind of a sucky one, but when they finally got to that Fujitora Doflamingo scene, I was like in love with the screen. Like, I could not take my eyes away from it. I was at the edge of my seat. I literally thought they were just going to start fighting right there and causing all the destruction. And I especially love the way that Fujitora was intimidating Doflamingo, was saying that because all of the crazy things that are going on in Dressrosa right now, with all the mysterious organizations and the Straw Hat Pirates, and with Doflamingo there, inevitably they're just going to start destroying everything, and the best course of action to prevent that would be to kill Doflamingo. And then that's when he announces his plan to get rid of the 7 Warlords system, and that just makes him seem all the more intimidating and hardcore, especially when compared to some of the other admirals in the series. And I find that surprising because this guy is the new kid on the block. Although he definitely has experience, he's just a badass blind swordsman, and I cannot wait to see the inevitable battle between these two. I really hope it happens, and I loved it, especially the scene where Doflamingo kicked him. It was so quick and out of nowhere, it's just great. Those are the type of scenes I really live for in build-up scenes in One Piece, and I think that one is going to define this week's episode. Senor Pink and Vice, though, God, these guys are ridiculous. They look just so funny and outlandish, but they're so hard-boiled. Yeah, I went there. I'm really glad that Violet returned because she's actually one of my favorite characters from this arc. I really love her whole backstory, and I really want to see Sanji return as well. When they showed that little quick clip of him hanging out with Violet, it actually made me realize that I actually do kind of like the scenes between them. I just think they're really funny. Otherwise, I think this episode was just a really great build-up episode with Sabo getting ready to go into the Coliseum, Fujitora versus Doflamingo, a little bit of Franky action. This was just a really nice episode altogether. I mean, it had all the elements you need. It was just a little slow in the beginning of the episode. So I'm going to give this week's episode a 4 out of 5. Check it out, One Piece fans. Pretty exciting stuff. I cannot wait to see the battle between Fujitora and Doflamingo. Who's gonna win? Tell me in the comments section below. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up and like the video. And if you would, please subscribe to our channel. You can do that by clicking on the channel icon right up here. You guys can also follow us on Facebook and on Twitter.